things I was going to say is that, so I know for like wrestling's kind of a niche audience, comics is kind of a niche audience. There is some kind of a Venn diagram in between, but one of the things I was thinking of, particularly in this circumstance, is that I feel like wrestling is kind of having a resurgence lately, and even more so, I find that a lot of people who are friends of mine, they love like Dark Side of the Ring, which is kind of like a behind the music for wrestling, but they're not actually wrestling fans. And I think like, not that any of this story is dark at all, but I think there's kind of the same sense of like, you could read this book, you don't have to be a wrestling fan, but you can get kind of some of the behind the scenes, behind the curtain stuff. And that same feeling you get from watching Dark Side of the Ring, you can probably glean from this book, and it's all surrounding the life of Tony Schiavone, somebody that you can tune in every Monday night on YouTube for AE Dark Elevation or Wednesday night on Dynamite, and and that's the dude, and it's very cool that you guys are able to kind of present him in that way, and I really feel like it's a book for anybody.
And it's so funny you say that as well, because the working title in my mind for this book, which was never going to be the real title, was A Life Amongst Giants. Because Tony's this everyman character who lives his life amongst literal giants in personality.
I like that title, actually.
It was like too pretentious, and it's like, it's not, Of course, Tony wanted to call the book I Jabroni. So we had to find it. We had to find the middle between like this, A Life Amongst Giants.
Kind of like that one too, to be honest.
That's the TV movie, Dirk, right?
Tony's like, what have we called it? I Jabroni, the Tony Schiavone story, and I'm like, let's shoot the middle,
Well, can I say something about that though? Like on the West Coast, jabroni's not a thing. No idea what that even means.
Yeah, that's like it's an old
very wrestling audience, right?
And then
they don't use that much in the modern wrestling lingo, right?
And and there was a conversation we had. Like the Iron Sheik actually started jabroni, but then
that was like a big
popularized it. And I said, people are gonna think like this is gonna be The Rock. I mean, The Rock's gonna run for president at some point. They're gonna think this is autobiography, It's like, so but then again, she's the editor of the book, and she's like, I'm on the West Coast. What's a jabroni? And I'm like, well, no, it's like a deep wrestling term because you hear me call people jabronis probably several times a week.
A wrestling fan at a young age. I mean, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Junkyard Dog were my men.
Yeah,
love
I love that era of wrestling. All those characters.
Jabroni. I don't remember it. And then I heard him call one of our mutual friends a jabroni once, and I was like, that's a horrible word. Shame on you.
Is that a Midwest thing? He sounds like a jabroni.
Well, I mean,
it's like one of those little noodles with meat in it. Like you buy in a can, like a can of jabronis,
Yeah, Kraft jabroni. Jabroni and O's or something.
But actually, in all seriousness, that thing that she was talking about kind of proved that point too. That we're having these discussions because Tony's real low key, really mellow and stuff. But I mean, when he thought about his life story, calling it I Jabroni, it's like. It's an inside term, and this book is truly so universal. I mean, to your point again, Johnny, there's people that watch Dark Side of the Ring that don't watch wrestling. Everyone's aware of wrestling. Whether you're Junkyard Dog and Hacksaw Jim Duggan days and you fell out of it until you started, getting back into it again. Whether you're a new person that came back in through NXT and now AEW absolutely blowing up. Whatever, the Hulk Hogan era, rock and wrestling era, whatever it may be, wherever you land, everyone's aware of wrestling.
Yeah, and like I feel like you could say Hulk Hogan. It's almost like Superman. Like everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a great question from Adam Warlock. Tony must have some crazy Ric Flair stories. Anything you can share without spoilers?
Drino?
No, sorry, dude. I saw his question pop up, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to have to break his heart."
The fourth bonus story in the book is a Ric Flair story.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Illustrated by another friend of Indie Comics Everywhere, Mike Watson,
Okay.
is illustrating it. I won't give away details because you can see I'm starting to get the yeah. She thinks she's subtle. She's like, oh, my neck itches. But I will tell you, of the 4 bonus stories we added, the first 3 are 4 pages, and then the last one, the Ric Flair one, is 6 pages.
Okay.
And it may, no, I'm not going to say it because I will get in trouble, but it's quite a thing.
I
Okay.
can say
Yeah,
Right,
go ahead.
that's a
Yeah,
good
go ahead.
tease.
Sorry.
That's a good
It's my
tease.
favorite
So we
What's that,
we would encourage everybody to back it if they're Ric Flair fans and want to see this story. Is the story worthy of a Ric Flair fan? Like something they might not have heard?
yeah.
Okay.
It was
All
my
right.
favorite story that he told, and it was a little risque, so we couldn't. Initially, I was like, we can't have that in the book. And then when we started opening the stretch mini stories, it was like,
Yeah.
Throw
Gotta
it
have that in
all
there.
in.
Okay. That's
Nice.
great. Okay. So that's good. Okay.
Tasteful
I like that.
nudity. Tasteful.
Yes.
Tasteful.
we did
Now,
have to
can you-
make it tasteful.
Now the other bonus stories, do those feature like a specific wrestler interaction, or
Yeah.
that's something that you guys can share who is involved with those bonus stories without
Yeah,
giving away a spoiler?
I won't give away any spoilers, but it's listed on the page. Bobby Heenan.
Okay.
We have Lynn O'Grady, who I've worked with on Nightmare World, Tales Mystery, doing a hilarious Bobby Heenan story. Lynn's such a comedic, expressive artist too that it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yaljo, who did Claim, and I probably just mangled his name as well. He's from Macedonia. I apologize. So Miko. He is doing a story with Chief Wahoo McDaniel, which is it. In some ways, it might be one of my favorites because it's so funny and just knowing Tony and knowing how Tony is, it's fun. But it might be tied with the other one I really like is Ani Hayan is doing a Sting bonus story.
Oh, cool.
And I will just say it involves Sting and Tony on a cruise ship, and hilarity ensues.
Okay.
Um,
I love that stuff, like the the side stories, the when
Yeah.
the camera's off kind of stories.
and I think you hit the nail on the head. These were cameras off stories that were fun, don't necessarily fit in the narrative we were doing, but and again, it's like I could have done a whole book of stuff like this. Chapter 10 of the book, which is illustrated by Ricardo Rosana, this will be his first ever published comic work. He was recommended to me by Mariana Pescosta, who draws Twisted Haunted Highlands with me. Well, she illustrates it, I write it. And then did the main cover of the book. She recommended him. Chapter 10 is also some kind of one-off stories. So you got like Klondike Bill, you got the Four Horsemen. So yeah, Ric Flair's in Chapter 10 as well. Riding with the Horsemen.
This is great.
Yeah, it's really a fun book. It's like the first 9 chapters are like Tony's life in wrestling. The 10th chapter we did some kind of blow off stories, and then we added 4 more on top of that with 4 amazing artists.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Just
Awesome.
So
So
much
now,